Alright, so I'm going to cover alt text in this video, and I'm going to go over four things. First, I'm going to explain what it is and why it's important. Then I'm going to show you what it looks like in the code of a website. Then I'm going to show you how some popular websites use it. And then we're going to cover best practices. So alt text is a piece of text that you assign to an image on your site in the event that a user can't see the image. There are three common needs for this. Number one, either your image didn't get downloaded for some reason and you want a visitor to know what the image was about. Or number two, it could be that the visitor is blind and they're using software that reads web pages to them. Third reason, and the one that really concerns us most today, is that your visitor could be a computer program written by a search engine to crawl the web. Now, software programs can't figure out what your image is by looking at it, so they need you to explain it. And an easy way to explain it would be, put a little piece of code that a search engine software program could understand. So I'm going to bring up some HTML editing software here that I use. HTML, if you're not familiar, is basically probably the most important coding language behind all websites. And this is an example of an image, how I would put an image on a website. The code begins with this little sign here that's basically says, all right, we're going to do some stuff, and when you see the closing caret, just pay attention to the stuff in between. It's all kind of like one thing. So we've got an abbreviation for image source, which tells the computer, all right, we've got an image coming. And then we've got the location of the image. This is http://seoquick.com/baseball.png. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually copy this and go put it into a browser, and you're going to see the image. This is actually how websites know, or basically a browser knows to show an image. It's actually stored as a file somewhere on a website. So now here's the interesting thing for this video. We've got this little alt attribute here, and we set it equal to baseball. So this is the alt text, or the alt tag as it's sometimes called, and basically that's what lets the search engine know, hey, this is a picture of a baseball. And that's a lot easier to understand than a lot of times what you'll see is like some random numbers, and Google or any other search engine can't figure out that this means baseball because it's just a bunch of random numbers. But if you say my alt text is baseball, then it's really easy to understand that your image is about baseball. So let me fill this in. Now let me show you this. So I've got a preview tab up here which will show us what this code would look like on a normal web page. So I'm going to go click on that, and it's the image of the baseball that I stored on SEOquick.com. Now, obviously, if you look at this, you don't see the word baseball anywhere. It's kind of hidden in the code. It doesn't actually show up on the page. But if you hover the mouse over the image, you see this little box. Let me get that back. See the little box that says baseball. So if you've ever wondered where those little boxes come from, now you know. Now you know how to code them yourself if you care to do so. So let's jump into how some popular websites use alt text. And I'm going to go ahead and fire up a browser here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Wikipedia here, and I'm going to do a search for baseball. Alright, now here we've got the Wikipedia page for baseball. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and we see we have this big, beautiful image here. It's obviously, it's titled down here, the baseball diamond at Wrigley Field. So I'm going to go ahead and view the source code and see how Wikipedia set the alt text for this particular image. All right. Click View Page Source. I'm going to search for the text. Okay, let me bring this up here. All right, so basically it's kind of hard to tell from the way Wikipedia does their code, but take my word for it that here we've got the beginning of that piece of code is the caret, and then we've got the image tag, and then they're putting the alt text in front of the file name, which is fine, but they're putting the alt text Wrigley Field 720.jpj or JPG, and then they've got the source code, which is you could take this link and paste it in a browser and you would see the image. So I'm going to go to that right now. So you see I click the link. Now the link is in the URL and we see the image. So let's just go back to that real quick. So we saw that the alt text was set as Wrigley Field 720.jpg. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Google. Let me fire that up. And I'm going to do a search for Wrigley Field. And I'm going to go to the image search. And what do we know? The very first image is that image that Wikipedia had, and they tagged it as Wrigley Field. So obviously Google is seeing this as being a relevant image search for the keyword Wrigley Field because it's Wrigley Field 720. So that's one example. Let me bring up another website that is using this example. Let's do a search for something like the word porch. Now the first result, let me adjust this here. The very first result comes from some site called thisoldhouse.com. So I'm going to click on it and then we can go see how this website is using alt text to rank well in the search engine. So we can go view source. And I'm going to search for it. Okay. So I know this is kind of complicated. Take my word for it. Actually, I'll click on the link. So yeah, here is the image that we were just looking at in Google search. And if we go back to their source code, they are using the alt text, a porch in the farmhouse style. Now they're ranking well for porch because the second word in the alt tag is porch, and they've got the word porch actually in the file name twice, you can see. So that's easy for Google to say, all right, well, if you've got the word porch in your file name and the second word in the alt text is porch, then it makes sense for us to rank this image well for the word porch. So that's pretty simple. And like you see, this isn't Wikipedia. This is a much smaller website. So you don't have to be Wikipedia to get an image to rank #1 in the Google search, image search. Really all you need to do is be smart about how you're using your alt tags and how you're naming the actual image. So let me close out of here. And now it's time that we cover best practices. Now, the most important best practice here to recognize is that alt text really isn't a really big factor in how Google is going to rank your website, but it's a huge factor in getting traffic from image searches. So unless you have an image linking to your site, the alt text is basically going to be about as important as any keywords that you have in big bold letters on your web page. So for example, let me scroll down to the porch image. Here it is. Basically, Google is taking this whole big area and thinking it means whatever it was called, the front porch, whatever the anchor text was. It was like a porch on the farm. So in Google's eyes, all this space is taken up by the text a porch on the farm. So the alt text is going to be about as important as any other big bold letters you would have on your website. So it's something. It is more important than just the general text on your website, but it's not hugely important like the links pointing to your page or the title tag of your page, which are things I covered in other videos that you can check out. So really ranking well for the image search isn't going to be something that gives you a ton of traffic, but I've had websites where it can boost the amount of organic traffic I get by 5 or 10%. And it's so easy to do. It takes not even a minute to set good alt text on the image. So if it takes a minute and it can help boost your organic traffic by 5 or 10%, I've always thought, why not do it? I'll take that 5 to 10% for a minute of my effort. Okay, now I want to get into how long to make your alt text. And this is one where it's a little more complicated, so I like to do my favorite thing here whenever there's some content. Alright, so this is a YouTube video with one of Google's senior engineers, Matt Cutts. He's been working on the search quality team for many years, and we're going to go ahead and let him explain a little bit about how many words are appropriate to include in your alt tag. And if you notice down here, yes, this is on Google's official account. If you want to look it up on YouTube, just type in Matt Cutts discusses the importance of alt tags. So this is legit.
And now we've got an alt tag. And alt stands for alternative text. And so if somebody's using a screen reader or they can't load the image for some reason, your browser can show you this alternative text. And it's very helpful for Google. Now we can see what's going on. Different people and people who are interested in accessibility can also get a good description of what the image is. And you're not spamming. This is, a total of 7 words. Now, if you've got 200 words in your alt text, or really, you don't need a ton of words because 7 is enough to describe a scene pretty well, right? So if you've got 20 or 25, that's even getting a little bit out there. But this is perfectly fine. You're talking about what's going on within the picture itself.
All right, so there you had it. Don't try to spam Google by putting in 200 words in your alt tag, thinking you're going to rank well for all of them. Don't even try 25. Just pick maybe, 5 to 10 words that adequately describe the image. So the last best practice we're going to cover is that you should always use alt text on an image when you link it internally to another part of your website, or when other people link to your website with an image. So an example would be, let's say somebody puts up a picture of a baseball and links it to your website that is about baseball. Now, if you know anything about SEO or you watch the video about anchor text, you know that anchor text is really important. It helps Google understand what the link is about. Now, obviously, with an image, you don't have any anchor text. So what Google will do is it will use the alt tag or alt text as if it were anchor text. So let's say your friend that has the picture of the baseball that's linking to your website about baseball, you would want them to have alt text that says something about baseball. So maybe it's baseball website, or learn more about baseball, or play baseball, or whatever kind of keywords you're going after, you want them to be in the alt text. And if for any reason you're linking to another page on your website with an image, again, just use some alt text that is relevant to what you're trying to rank for, and that'll help you rank better.